Greetings, fellow Helldiver. Are you a sample-hungry new cadet looking to power up? Want to take your ship to the next level so you can defend our way of life on higher-level missions? Well, you're in luck. Today, we are walking through sample farming in level 4 to 6 missions. Our goal is simple: complete all of the main objectives and extract while collecting as many samples as we can. Today, we will be reviewing a challenging difficulty Eliminate Bile Titans mission to equip you with the knowledge you will need to fully unlock your common and rare ship upgrades. With a little help from your pal Sour Weasel, let's go spread some democracy. Before we dive in, let's review our loadout. My favorite loadout is Breaker Incendiary, Redeemer Pistol, and Incendiary Grenades. I love the Incendiary Breaker almost as much as I love Freedom. However, the incendiary weapons are found on page 2 of the Steeled Veterans Premium War Bond, which may be a little out of reach for you at this point, as you will need to collect 1,000 super credits to unlock this war bond. We will proceed with using weapons and stratagems that can be accessed at lower levels, but if you have access to them, I highly recommend running the incendiary weapons against Terminids. If you want to see them in action, check out the link in the description for a solo deathless Helldive guide. For our primary, let's default back to the regular Breaker shotgun, which can be unlocked on page 4 of the standard war bonds. The normal Breaker actually deals more damage than the Breaker Incendiary, but has less ammo, less spread, more recoil, and doesn't inflict burn damage. We will also take the Redeemer Pistol, which can be unlocked on page 2 of the standard war bonds. Finally, let's take the Frag Grenade, which can be found on the first warbond page. If you do not have Breaker unlocked yet, the Liberator is perfectly fine to use as well. Up next, armor. The best armor for open map games by far is the SC-30 Trailblazer Scout, light armor unlockable on page 7 of the standard war bonds. The Scout passive reduces the range that enemy garrisons and patrols can detect you, allowing you to choose your fights and play stealthy. For this guide, we will use the more accessible SC-34 Infiltrator armor on page 1 of the standard war bonds. This armor also has the Scout passive, but it's slightly slower. In my opinion, speed is the most important stat on armor because it lets you run away from more things. Remember, Cadet, running is also an interaction. The highest speed stat, 550, lets you effectively run from almost every Terminid enemy except for Shriekers, Stalkers, and Bile Titans. Chargers and Hunters can still get to you if you are close, but these are much easier to play against than Titans and Stalkers, since their pathing can get interrupted by terrain. Unfortunately, the Infiltrator armor has lower speed than the Trailblazer armor, but we don't expect to encounter many Bile Titans or Stalkers in medium difficulty levels, so we should be okay. Higher speed will also let you cover the map faster and extract sooner. This is important because the game gets progressively harder as time goes on, so if you want to securely extract with your samples, it's wise to hit that button early. You should never take medium or heavy armors on open map missions, period. It's perfectly fine to take other light armors if you prefer to play with more stims or more grenades. It will just make getting the jump on garrisons a bit more difficult. Last but not least, stratagems. Making this video really takes me back to grinding up to level 20, full of determined anticipation and desire to unlock the more powerful, liberty-delivering stratagems. But don't fret, Cadet. We will also be covering more accessible stratagems in this guide that still pack a major punch. To back up a bit and set the stage, my general framework for selecting a stratagem loadout for open map missions is as follows. I want to take a backpack, a support weapon, an eagle, and a sentry. For backpacks, we have 3 reasonable options: the supply pack, the guard dog rover, and the shield pack. The shield pack is more of a late game item, so let's focus on discussing the supply pack and guard dog rover. The supply pack is a great starting stratagem as it lets you have a lot of staying power in the field and lets you recover from mistakes, managing your health pool and ammo throughout the game. However, the guard dog rover is the best backpack in medium difficulty missions. Medium difficulty missions are generally populated with light enemies, with the occasional charger thrown in. The guard dog rover's unlimited ammo and ability to interact well against every light enemy class puts it head and shoulders above any of the other backpacks. It's a must-take and will make your run extremely smooth. While you lose out on the primary weapon ammo, grenades, and stims by not taking supply pack, you still have access to these through the resupply stratagem, and you will find plenty of ammo as you look for your samples. We have several choices for our support weapon. The machine gun and stalwart are fine to take to clear the abundant light enemies in the middle difficulties, and the flamethrower and grenade launcher are very popular for middle to even high play. However, my favorite lower-level support weapon is the EAT, 17 Expendable Anti-Tank, or EAT for short. I have fond memories of grinding with the EAT. It used to take 2 EATs to kill a charger, but they've recently been buffed and can one-shot a charger's head and 2-shot a Bile Titan's head. Joel is a true patriot. They also have an extremely low cooldown, so you can do fun things with them like build up a stockpile before assaulting an objective. EATs also can destroy bug holes in a pinch when you run out of grenades. The real strength of the Guard Dog Rover EAT combination is you have an answer for every terminid you encounter, and that's just with 2 stratagems. I never take orbital stratagems for terminid missions. In my opinion, none of them are any good except for the orbital laser, which has a place in higher level play to clear garrisons before a bug breach can be called. Most Eagles are also similarly weak, with a few exceptions. Eagle Airstrike is very strong. It destroys bug holes and can clear most of a bug nest. Eagle Cluster Bomb is also strong since it gets a lot of uses. We won't consider 500 kilogram bomb since it's unlocked later, but it has high utility because it can clear Titans in one shot. Cluster Bomb does not clear bug holes, so we'll take Airstrike in our 3rd slot. I like to run a sentry in my 4th slot because we've selected our first 3 stratagems to cover all enemy types, so we can sneak a bit of utility into our loadout. My favorite sentry is the Tesla Tower, but that's a later game item, so we'll stick with the Gatling Sentry. Gatling Sentry can easily clear a medium bug breach and makes holding an area while you loot it a cakewalk. Sentries can also be used as bait to de-aggro heavy enemies while you escape or line up EAT shots. To summarize, our stratagems are Guard Dog Rover for light clear, EAT for heavies, Eagle Airstrike for objective clearing, and Gatling Sentry for point control and utility. Alright, enough talk, let's dive in. Ready up, Cadet. Let's first select our drop point. While I would normally recommend dropping near the Titan to speed up the mission, we want to be making decisions that maximize the chance of a successful extract. Here I decide to drop directly on extract, so we can call in eats and supplies for later and clear out all of the surrounding garrisons so we don't need to deal with these during extract. As we covered previously, our stratagems will be Guard Dog Rover, EAT, Airstrike, and Gatling Sentry. I take Stamina Enhancement, but any enhancement you have access to is okay. Let's cover our general strategy for collecting samples. Samples generally spawn in 4 places: extract point, mission objectives, bug nests, and places of minor interest, which we will call loot objectives. The main mistake I see lower-level players make when searching for samples, especially green samples, is not aggressively looking for loot objectives. Most of the samples on the map are at loot objectives. This is also true in higher difficulty missions. As a bonus, you also can find medals, requisition slips, and the valuable super credits at loot objectives too. Now that we've called in our support stratagems, it's time to start clearing out the map. The first area we encounter is a light nest, which we are able to clear with a single airstrike placed in the middle of the 2 bug holes. We are rewarded with 2 samples, making 3 so far, including the one we picked up at extract.
How'd you like the taste of freedom?
Nearby is our first loot objective. The garrison was aggroed and is taken out by our sentry, so we are able to walk onto it unopposed. As you can see, Eat also just came back off cooldown. I have the ship upgrade that decreases the cooldown by 10%, so it's a bit accelerated, but note how fast this stratagem refreshes. Add attention, cadet. Here is a really important tip. See the diamond icon on the minimap? Once discovered, loot objectives will show up on the minimap as either a diamond or a pointer icon. If the icon is a diamond, that means that there are samples on the objective. After you pick up all of the samples, the icon will change to the pointer. Note that this only applies to the samples on the objective, and ammo, grenades, and stims will not affect the icon. This is how you can confirm you found all of the samples on a minor place of interest. We discover the artillery side objective, but our goal isn't to complete it. We are just here to find samples. I do a quick scan over the objective and find another sample, bringing our total to 6. I'm a bit careless with my stamina management and get engaged by a patrol before leaving the objective, which drops a bug breach. I wasn't really expecting, but my trusty rover clears a path through the light enemies.
How'd you like the taste of freedom? Mag's empty!
I check my map and realize I'm pathing counterclockwise. I want to clear out the loot objectives before taking on the Titan, so I reorient to take a more clockwise path towards the northwest of the map. Note how the first sentry is still on the map, even though the stratagem just came off of cooldown. It's possible to hold important areas like main objectives and extract point by pre-placing sentries, looting a minor objective, then coming back to add a second sentry. We also call in our anti-tank at extract as we pass it, so we'll have a stockpile when we need to leave. Picking up little efficiency gains like this makes a big difference. Since I have the +1 hanger upgrade, I rearm my Eagle to put it on cooldown and make the run a bit more fair. We've identified the next minor objective, the radar station. Radar station is actually very helpful to complete because it will fully expose all loot objective locations. I also skip this since it's not strictly necessary, and I like the challenge. You should make a habit of pinging the garrison. This is helpful to identify what you are dealing with before you arrive. Light and heavy enemies have different sound cues when pinged. I thought the bug on the right might be a charger, so I wanted to make sure before taking aggro. I drop sentry into the wide, flat area with good line of sight across the objective once I determined there are no chargers. I sweep the objective and unfortunately don't find any samples, so it's on to the next one. Note that I don't immediately stim off the broken arm. A lot of the value of stims comes from the invulnerability you get when you pop them and the stamina recharge. A broken arm does not really affect combat, so I hold the stim to see if I want to get more value out of it. Remember, cadet, the little things add up. We continue our clockwise rotation on the map and run into our second loot objective. It's garrisoned with light forces, so I brute force my way onto it and clear it with my primary and guard dog. It's a bunker, which is unfortunately not accessible solo, so I move on after confirming that it's cleared by checking for a pointer icon on the minimap.
Freedom forever!
Another loot objective greets us. It's garrisoned by 2 hive guards, so I get a grenade down first to soften them up, then clear out the remaining enemies. This loot area has 3 samples, bringing our total to 9. I also find an arc thrower which I pick up. Eid is on such a low cooldown, it's okay to drop them for other support weapons you find. Also note that you should stand still when picking up items. Picking up items while moving can sometimes cause the item to bug. We find our 4th loot objective right over the next hill. It's lightly garrisoned, but a hive guard is able to get off a bug breach. I respond by throwing down the sentry between the loot area and the bug nest further west in an open area so it can see everything. I don't mind it aggroing the bug nest garrison because bug breach is already active. It's another bunker objective, so we only walk away with 1 sample.
Mag's empty! For prosperity!
Next up, the hunter nest. I'm getting low on grenades, stims, and ammo, so I call down a resupply. The hunter nest garrison has already been wiped out by the sentry, so all that's left to do is clear the hunters that come out, destroy the bug hole, and collect 2 more samples. There's another medium nest right behind this one, so I circle back to refresh my supplies, then head over to clear it.
How'd you like the taste of freedom?
I pre-activate my airstrike and throw it into the nest. To my great confusion, it doesn't activate. I throw another one and realize the munition is getting blocked by the rock outcropping. I will ensure that this Eagle pilot is referred to the proper Liberty Education facility. Without the Eagles, we go ahead and clear the nest manually and collect 2 more samples, bringing our total to 14. I have to call down and eat after a warrior blocks my grenade. The bugs have no honor.
Bug outpost! How about a nice cup of liver tea? Throwing grenade! Fire in the hole!
Deploying support weapon.
I'm out!
After leaving the nest, we run into a patrol. I decide to aggro it, and it bug breaches. I mainly just want to refill my grenades, so I loop around and pick them up from the resupply.
Mag's empty!
The next loot objective in our path has a point of interest. These drop medals, requisition slips, weapons, super credits, and rare samples. It's not Garrison, so we can just walk in. Actually, we have to dive in since the tremor drains our stamina, and diving is faster than walking with empty stamina. The area just has the rare sample in the point of interest. I notice the illegal broadcast tower in the distance and drop an eat to take it out. I get a bit distracted here and miss the other point of interest area that's closer than the illegal broadcast objective. I should have cleared the other point of interest loot area first. You can also see yet another point of interest area I missed on the way here, which we will need to circle back and do. I should have done the radar objective after all.
I'm out.
We use a similar plan for the broadcast area by dropping a sentry that has good coverage, then searching for samples. It's important to keep the sentry on your side when you approach the area it's covering so you do not take friendly fire. I prefer that it be on my right side so I can see the incoming fire unobstructed by my character model. The objective has 3 samples, raising our total to 18.
Mag's empty. Have a taste of democracy.
With the broadcast area cleared, we now circle back to loot the point of interest areas I missed initially. The first one has a charger garrison. I ping it to confirm and to provide a targeting indicator. It's not facing the right way, so I aggro it first with my sidearm to get it to turn around. Once it's facing me, a single eat to the head finishes it off, and we pick up another 3 samples.
Found something.
We now have to loop back for the third point of interest area. This works a bit in our favor since a mountain range is blocking us from reaching the Titan, and we will need to circle back anyway, but we are getting short on time. This point of interest area only has 1 sample, bringing our total to 22 as we head out to complete the main objective, liquidating the Bile Titan.
Found something. Dropping a pin. Northeast. Far.
In order to demonstrate proper item management, I'm going to drop the samples between the objective and extract and pick them up later. I do not expect to die during this mission, but want to demonstrate this important mechanic for extracting samples safely. It's advisable to drop your samples when you are planning on going far away from extract, especially if you expect to encounter strong resistance. This way, you do not risk losing them if you get overwhelmed and can pick them up on your way back. It's even more important when playing with a team because you might get reinforced far from your samples. You can press X on PC to toggle on the drop menu, then cursor over the samples to drop them. Dropped samples will appear on the minimap, so don't be afraid of losing them. On the long journey to the Bile Titan, we encounter yet another bunker and pick up a sample. I make a small error here and don't refill my health bar, then pick up the free stims. Immediately after clearing the bunker, we run into a patrol that bug breaches. As before, we drop sentry to deal with it. I have to drop it on my left side since that's where the flat space is, but then quickly path forward so the sentry ends up on my right side. There is also another loot objective close by that has a blast door. I aggro the Garrison over a distance since the bug breach has already been called in. You can open the bunker door with grenades and the eat. I pick up the stalwart and super credits inside. No samples, unfortunately. The sentry takes out the next patrol as we enter the main objective area. There's a bug nest immediately in front of us. I remember that I forgot to rearm my eagle after using it on the last nest. I decide to rearm it now to fight with an arm behind my back and compensate for my expanded weapons-based ship enhancement.
Eagle 1 leaving combat zone to resupply.
Say hello to
Mission
the
at 20 minutes remaining.
The stalwart is a bit weak into the hive guards, so I switch off to the breaker to finish them. The run almost ends from a warrior blocking my grenade, again, but I'm able to collect the sample and walk it off. After clearing up the nest, I call in the eat and mentally prepare to face the Titan. Picking up the stalwart was probably incorrect in hindsight, as it does not interact well with the Titan. Eat, or even the arc thrower, would have been stronger. I'm left to deal with the Titan and Charger Garrison with only 2 eats to start. I decide to try to get the cheeky supply drop on the Titan. Supply drop can do a lot of damage to Titans and make them easier to kill. I underthrow the supply drop, then try to aggro the Titan into it by hitting it with the eat. No success. And now the supplies are inside of the Titan nest. I go back for the second eat, ping the Titan to get a lock on its head and fire. It's still standing, so I missed one or both headshots. After tapping the Titan twice, it definitely knows we're here. I sacrifice Sentry to de-aggro the Titan, then back off to wait for Eat to come off cooldown.
Sending down sentry.
Eat comes off of cooldown right as we come up against a patrol that quickly drops Bug Breach on us. I'm able to get the new Eat down and pick one up, but we have a fight on our hands. This would have been hard to deal with since I don't have Sentry up and am low on primary ammo, but Guard Dog comes to the rescue and fights for me. After clearing the bug breach, our dance with the Titan begins.
Mag's empty. Last reload.
I push forward back towards the Titan to try to get another anti-tank round off on it.
50 meters.
I ping it first to lock onto its head. I take the shot but miss low and quickly run back for the next one, knowing that the Titan is following me now. I need to keep as much distance as possible on it in case the next eat misses and I need to call another one in.
Heavy. Southeast. 50 meters.
After collecting the fourth eat, I path back to the Titan and try to find an angle on its head.
I'm out.
That shot felt good, but the Titan is still alive.
Heavy. East.
Fortunately,
50 meters.
Eat is off cooldown, and we throw it far away from the Titan to give more space to kite it. I use the rest of the primary ammo to try to add a bit more damage, then run for the Eat drop. The Titan is close now, so the pressure is on. I throw the fifth Eat at it and turn quickly back for the last one. With darkness falling and glowing green death looming, I take the shot and finally bring it down. We can't celebrate yet, since we still need to make it back to extract. Right behind us, there is one more bug nest to check for samples. But first, I run to what's left of the Titan nest to pick up the supplies and grab any samples.
Mag's empty. Fire in the hole. Yeah. Tagging map. West. 100 meters.
We only end up finding one sample in the Titan nest. I make another error here and don't refill the grenades from the supply drop. I end up getting bug breached while going for the last nest and decide to simply take the samples and leave without finishing it. Time is running low, and I want to have a comfortable extract.
Get some! Get some!
Extraction is available.
Don't forget the samples, Cadet.
Dropping a pin.
On the way
South,
back,
300 meters.
let's tag the sample container we dropped on the minimap to make pathing to them easier. Finally made it back to our sample container. We've collected 27 samples so far.
Extraction is available.
I go ahead and throw down Sentry, trying to get it on the rock, but it bounces.
Deploying sentry.
Frankly, this was not great placement, and it should have gone on the high ground around the extract. I was trying to get it down fast because of muscle memory from higher difficulty extracts that can be up to 4 minutes long, which would let it come off of cooldown towards the end of the extract. Another big mistake I see newer players making is they neglect to shape the extract before calling it down. I make sure to get resupply and eat called in, so I'll have plenty of options against the incoming patrols. I also go ahead and drop the samples close to the extract point. This is another high-level sample management strategy. Dropping samples on extract will allow whoever makes it back to the Pelican to get them out. It will also let you play more aggressively into the patrols, since you won't fear dying with the samples and not being able to reach them. Placement is key here though. Do not drop them directly in the middle of the extract point, because the Pelican can land on them and block them. Now that we have extract called in and are engaging waves, the plan is to stick to the high ground and spot out incoming patrols. Try to move back and forth and clean up the nearest enemies. Do not let yourself get tunneled in on one front, but constantly scan your flanks. If the high ground gets overrun, you can always drop down to low ground and move in a circle around the extract point to prevent yourself from being surrounded. If you do end up forced off of high ground, you can use eagles and grenades to clear it off and retake it. I also want to use this time to search the extract for any samples I may have missed on the first look. We find 2 more samples, bringing our total haul up to 29. Not a bad day.
ETA T-minus 30 seconds. ETA T-minus 20 seconds.
Have a taste of democracy!
ETA T-minus 10 seconds. Deploying support weapon. Democracy's on its way.
We are facing fairly light resistance, so with the Pelican on its way, I go ahead and grab the samples and prepare to board. We managed to collect 17 of 23 common samples and 12 of 15 rare samples, with the rest likely inaccessible in the 2-man bunkers. This is a good time to offer my thanks to you for watching this guide and to congratulate you on making it this far. The tips and tricks you've learned here today will serve you well on your journey to deliver democracy to the galaxy. It will help the channel immensely if you can like and subscribe and provide feedback on what kinds of guides and videos you'd like to see going forward. This video, for instance, was requested by comment. Remember, Helldiver, freedom starts with you. Go forth and spread democracy.